The single biggest challenge to achieving this vision of the clean energy future is the coordination effort. We can't get the solar and the wind into the system without transmission lines. We can't get transmission lines built without community engagement and community acceptance, because there are landholders involved, whether they're Indigenous or farmers. So it's the coordination effort, and the coordination effort won't come without a commitment. And the commitment won't come if people don't share the vision of what can be achieved.
The challenge is that while the general public supports the transition to clean energy, they may not support the introduction of clean energy at their backyards. Yes, Japan is very densely populated, but the other problem is that 70% of our land is mountains. And since our mountains are very steep, there's a possibility that they could lead to landslides, which has made solar panels not very popular among communities which have very steep mountainsides.
We must bring the community on this journey, and that's about targeting key regional areas where they will be impacted by a change in the asset mix or a change in the power mix, which has created many jobs. We shouldn't pretend that that's not a challenge. Instead, we should just lean into it, face into it head on, and start to work with those communities about how do we transition those new industries, how do we get new industries into those communities, how do we train people for them.
Each and every stakeholder is driving this movement. And if you're not a part of this journey, I think we'll just go out of business.
We need to unleash the potential of people here in Australia, but also around the world as we develop these new technologies. And I see that workforce being agile, skilled, able to move physically, move between jobs. And obviously the challenge is how do we make sure the skill system keeps pace with that mobility across the workforce. And obviously we want to make sure that that workforce has a lot of women in it and that they're participating in jobs at the highest level.
So there will be a transformation from the fossil fuel-based system to a clean energy system. It will not be easy, but it is the government's job to make it as orderly as possible, as fast as possible, and also to keep the cost of it down as much as possible. But I believe when it comes to climate change in a secure way, there is a very strong role for governments. Governments are definitely, in my view, in the driving seat.
Consistent policy frameworks, that's what businesses need. They need to understand what the runway is, they need to understand what's going to happen, not only in the next 2 or 3 years, but in the next 10, 20, 30, because they're making huge investments that go over 20, 30, 50 years. So they need that policy certainty.
We have amazing science and engineering skills. We have amazing raw material reserves. We just need to harness our innovation capability to turn those into the things that make Australia a global clean energy superpower.